Namaste and greetings, and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts, a Centers for Spiritual Living teaching center. I'm Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, the founding minister and spiritual director. If you ever have questions about who I am, who we are, what we do, what is Spiritually Integrated Arts, what is a teaching center, what is Centers for Spiritual Living, what is metaphysical spirituality, what is New Thought, Science of Mind and Spirit, how do I become a member? How can I support, tithe, and donate? All of these questions and so many more. Send an email. You have two options. SIAADMIN, Spiritually Integrated Arts, admin at spirituallyintegratederarts.org, or spirituallyintegratederarts@gmail.com. Either of those will work. You can also visit our website, www.spirituallyintegratederarts.org. Now, you may be wondering, where else can I find and follow? There are several other social media platforms that you can also subscribe and follow. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and our YouTube channel, where you can also find all of our Sunday messages and more. I look forward to hearing from you soon. I look forward to you being a part of this beloved community. Because we are a virtual community, it doesn't matter where in the world you are. This can also be your spiritual community, because you can have more than one. Anywhere that you feel supported, anywhere you are spiritually fed is home, is community, is relationship. So I look forward to dialoguing more, conversing more, getting to know you. Much love and appreciation. Live long and prosper. Chat with you soon. Take care. Namaste and greetings. Love thy neighbor. Join us today after the Sunday message in our Zoom fellowship hall. If you do not currently have the link, send an email to either of the two email addresses that you see on your screen, and the link will be sent to you. It's a great opportunity to meet new people and chat about what you experienced today during the Sunday message, or what's going on in your life, or how to be of better service to the community. And everything else is fair game to discuss, to share, and to converse about. So once again, if you do not currently have the link, send an email and the link will be sent to you. In similar manner, if you do not currently follow on any of the social media platforms, assuming that you are on social media, this is a great opportunity to like, share, follow, and subscribe on all of the platforms that we, as a beloved community, currently are on. Also, feel free to check out the website and share it with others so that more people can join in and take classes and workshops and all of the other things that we offer as a beloved community, as a agent of change, as a spiritual laboratory of divine evolutionary processes, etc. All of that good stuff. And as you see at the bottom of your screen, the two QR codes, one is for Givelify, the other is for PayPal, so that you may tithe and donate to this community where you are spiritually fed. Are you currently a member? If you are not, the process is relatively simple. 1, send an email. 2, watch the new member orientation video. 3, fill out the membership form. And 4, receive a digital copy of your membership certificate and membership card. It's that simple. So join us. Oh, and be mindful that it doesn't matter where in the world you live, because we are a virtual community at this present moment, eventually to be a hybrid virtual and in-person community. Once again, doesn't matter where you are, because virtually we're still connected. So you are still able to benefit from a lot of what we offer as a beloved community. So it also does not matter if you currently belong to another church or another center or another spiritual community. People shop at more than one grocery store. Some people go to more than one gym. It's possible to also spread and share within and around throughout all of the spiritual communities that exist. You can be a member of 15 different communities if you want. That's entirely up to you. Wherever you are spiritually fed is your community. Do you currently join us for the Wednesday night or Thursday night discussion and study group? If not, once again, send an email to either of the two links you saw on your previous screen, and the link for the Wednesday night, if that's what you want, facilitated by me, or the Thursday night, facilitated by Tracy. The link for either and or both will be sent to you. Simply request what it is you desire. Now, if you're not sure what's up, the Thursday night group goes over the questions that I leave all of you at the end of the Sunday message. They discuss, they share what questions do I still have? What ahas did I have? What landed with you? What made you think deeper about? It's all of that kind of stuff. The Wednesday night discussion group or study group goes over what is science of mind and spirit in terms of being applicable today, 21st century, science of mind and spirit 4.0. What does it mean to practice it? What does it mean to apply it? What does it mean to live it as a way of life? So we talk a lot about Ernest Holmes, as well as other New Thought luminaries, recognizing that as you practice it, as you apply it, you too become a science of mind or a New Thought luminary. Breathe that in. Coming soon, one of our non-credit classes will be related to self-care, especially as we approach the holidays. So if stepping into greater self-care in an unapologetic and audacious manner resonates with you, send an email for more information. It's a 4-week class. It will begin October 3rd from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There is no specific fee. It is a love offering based class or gathering, so feel free to check in and join in. Also coming soon in 2024, our first 2024 accredited class will be Self-Mastery, Emergence of the True Self. The exact dates are to be announced. The time will be from 7 to 8:30. It's a 6-week class. Registering early bird, that's now until such time as because the dates haven't been set. So you have time right now. Will be $125, and once the early bird has gone, the regular price will be $200. You have time because once again, the date hasn't been settled. So if this is of interest to you, especially if you are thinking about the path to practitioner, because the accredited class is one of the things on that path. Today's message is love thy neighbor. Exactly. Peace in the world starts with us, each one of us. And to truly create a world that works the highest and best for everyone, we must ensure that everyone's voice is included, including those that speak the language of nature. In other words, the lions, the tigers, the bears, the icebergs, the glaciers, all of these are communicating to us. Are we listening? We must make space in our lives and our communities for people who think differently than we do. Slight sidebar. Making space for people who think differently than we do does not mean we condone some of those differences. So, someone who thinks differently regarding race, for example, Black people should be slaves. That is their thought. In the grand scope of things, you are free to think that, you are free to say that. But that does not mean we make the space to accept it or to allow that to be what manifests, right? So we can have discussion, but understand that there is a boundary line where it's a hard no. I will not engage in any form of communication or any form of trauma or abuse simply because you are God. There are boundaries, but we go on. When we surround ourselves with people of all ages and all races and all sexual orientations and all political affiliations, all spiritual beliefs, cultural backgrounds, life experiences, and more, when we make the space to engage in the conversations, we have greater understanding of one another. Once again, that does not mean we condone. In the same way that a FBI profiler may sit down with a Charles Manson and have a conversation to understand, with a Jeffrey Dahmer, to understand what made you do what you did. What is in your belief system that the conversation is had. It does not mean we condone. It does not mean we say, well, you're God, you get to do what you want to do. Once again, there are boundaries. But what we are saying here is, if we do not or are not willing to engage in conversation with those who think differently than us, if I am a Christian and I refuse to have a conversation with a Buddhist because you don't believe in Jesus, then I am denying myself and them the opportunity to come together to the same table of oneness and unity and build as community. Because now what I am doing is creating the animosity of us versus them. So there's a fine line between how do we come together and communicate, cooperate, and collaborate with others who are not the same age, who are not the same color, who are not of the same religious background, etc. How do we still come together as community and build a world that works for all? That's what we're talking about. Living by example and loving each other, regardless of the differences, regardless of them. This is a beautiful way to create the peace and the wonder and the possibility of a world that works for all. You familiar with Sesame Street? Because there's a song in Sesame Street. Who are the people in your neighborhood? They're in your neighborhood. They're in your neighborhood. Say, who are the people in your neighborhood? They're the people that you meet each day. Who are the people in your neighborhood? Are you friendly with them? Do you converse with them? Or it's that neighbor, I avoid them at all costs like the plague. For what reason? Are you, even if you do not speak, for whatever reason, I understand that, but even though you do not speak, do you envelop them in the love and the recognition, the prayer of oneness? Are you able to anchor in the awareness that says, even though I do not speak to this person for whatever reason, I understand that they too are God. And because they are God, I pray health and well-being of them. I pray the evolution of consciousness for them. I pray that they realize and know the truth about themselves. Are you able to do that? Or is the animosity and the venom so strong that you don't even do that? Because if we are going to create the beloved community, if we are going to create a world that works for all, then even those people who are not healthy for us, right? You may not, I'm not saying to run up to the person that, molested you and say, I love you. Yay. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, are you able to recognize that even though they too are God, that though you do not speak to them ever again, they are still your neighbor? That you are able to envelop them in the consciousness of oneness, even though you never speak to them again? Are you able to do that? Are you able to evolve your consciousness to the degree where you can pray for even those who harm others, not condoning what they have done or what they are doing, but praying for, praying about their highest and best so that that behavior is healed? In the same way that one would take care of someone who's addicted to methamphetamines. You don't simply kick them to the curb. Some people do. But ideally, there is an intervention of some sort. And some people, the best thing I can do is no longer speak to this person, because when I do, I enable that. I cut them off. I understand that, but you can't cut them off from God. And because you can't cut them off from God, they're still connected to you. So even though there is space and distance and non-communication, can you still pray that they are healed of their addiction? Well, what if the addiction is not meth, but the addiction is racism? Can you pray that they are healed of the addiction? Their addiction is sexism. Can you pray that they are healed of their affliction and addiction? Because they are your neighbor. Breathe. We ain't but a couple of slides in, and we done already dove all in. So in the Bible, in Mark 12:28 through 31, now one of the scribes had come up and heard this debate going on. And noticing how well Jesus had answered them, he asked Jesus, hey, JC, which commandment is the most important of them all? And Jesus responded to him, the most important, hear, O Israel, the Lord your God, our God, the Lord is one. And love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. And the second is this: love your neighbor as you love yourself. No other commandment is greater than these. Now check this out. God is one. God is your neighbor. God is you. And as you love God, then you must love you. In the grand scheme of things. Now I understand some of us don't. But in the grand scheme of things, when we reach that awareness, that self-actualization, then I understand that to love God is to love me. And if to love God is to love me, then to love me is to love God and to love my neighbor as well. There is only one. There is no greater commandment than these. Love. Love all. I love myself so much because I love God so much. That gives me the ability to love you so much, so that you recognize and feel the energy of love, and then you love yourself, and then you love others as well, because love is contagious. Love is the synonym for God. Love is God. God is love. We covered that a couple of weeks ago, right? Or recently. Are you willing and able to simply love? Let's start with to love yourself, really, without judgment, without criticism, without the energy of perfectionism, with ease and grace, and compassion, love yourself. Because as you love yourself, by default, you are stepping into the energy of loving God, and in doing so, loving others. Especially when we understand that the neighbor, whoever they are, whatever they are, it includes them all. So you learn to love your unhoused neighbor. Love your neighbor who is Muslim. Love your neighbor who is gay. Love your neighbor who is lesbian. Love your neighbor who is transgender. Love your neighbor no matter who or what they are. Love your neighbor who is deaf. You don't know sign language. You can't communicate with them, but you can wave and you can love them. And even if you don't know any deaf people or transgender people, you know they exist. Can you love them? Just because someone is in Tokyo right now, just because someone is in Korea right now, just because someone is in South Africa right now, and I'm not, doesn't mean I cannot exude and send and be in a harmony of love and peace for all the people there. It does not mean I cannot send love and the energy of love and for people. It does not mean that. Just because we are separated by oceans and seas, mountains and valleys, we're still neighbors. We are still connected. There is still one. So let's ask, who is most challenging for me to love? What about myself is most challenging for me to love? And then how do I practice loving myself in spite of that? How do I love others in spite of their religious affiliation, their political affiliation, their whatever it is? How can I love nonetheless? Fred Rogers says, what changes the world? Huh? Yeah, that's my question. What changes the world? The only thing that ever really changes the world is when somebody gets the idea, when they are set ablaze with the idea that love can be present, love can abound, and love can be shared, just like breath. I inhale and I exhale. I inhale oxygen that the plants give off. I exhale carbon dioxide, which the plants inhale. Give and take. Love is shared. Love abounds because God abounds. God is all there is. So when we awaken to the idea, wait a minute, love transforms. Wait a minute, love is healing. Wait a minute, love invites me to forgive. Then we begin to share the idea. We begin to live the idea. And as has been said, nothing can stop an idea whose time has come. If the idea is love, nothing can stop love. When the idea of that love, when the love is present, it transforms. Dr. Holmes says, think of the whole world as your friend. That's what I was just talking about. Japan, Korea, South Africa, etc. Think of the whole world as your friend, but you must also be the friend of the whole world. You can't just think of them as they're my friend. Am I also their friend? Do I show myself to also be friendly to others? Give and take, receive and express. Because if I'm only being a friend to someone because of what they give me, what I get from them, then I'm not really a friend. Technically, it's selfish. It's not healing. Friendship is give unto me, and I give unto you. I am here for you, even when you can't be there for yourself and you can't be there for me in this moment. I am there for you. And then, as you then are able to be there for yourself, then if I need, you are then able to be sometimes in our lives, right? Lean on me. And when you can't, when you're not strong, I'll be there for you. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Because I know someday you'll be there to do the same for me. Are you ensuring that you are not just one direction friendship, but both directions of friendship? You are my friend and I am yours. That's community. That's how we heal and transform the world. How many of these individuals do you recognize? You recognize Charles Manson. Certainly you recognize Hitler, Charles Manson, Pol Pot, right? The three individuals responsible for Emmett Till's lynching, right? You get the idea. But the question is, what if these individuals in their lives had actually received and experienced the beneficial healing of the presence of love in their lives? Would they have become who and what they became? If someone really loved them to the degree that they loved themselves and was able to love others, would they have still done what they did? Would they have still become broken individuals? Chances are no. Now, granted, there are people who receive love, and because free will, they still choose to do whatever it is that they do. There are many children, they're in loving homes, loving and supportive homes, and they still do drugs or they still, whatever that is, because they still have free will. But what we are understanding is the likelihood of is reduced. When you love, and I mean real, I'm not talking about conditional love, I'm talking about agape. I'm talking about love without bounds and love without conditions. Love that says you are worthy just because. If these individuals, if any of us received and were able to give that degree of love, what might the world look like? How might these individuals and others in the category of these individuals, how might they have shown up in the world differently? How is scripture, no matter what the Bible is, no matter what the Quran is, no matter what the Talmud is, if it is read through the filter of love, not conditional love, not complete tribal love of I love my people, but not you, because you're not one of us. It's not real love. Love encompasses all. Can we love like that? Are we willing to love like that? Are we willing to engage in the healing process of that love? That's the question. So, are we saying that we're supposed to love our neighbor who is a racist? Love the neighbor who is anti LGBTQ? Love the neighbor who is in the KKK or some other white supremacist group? Love the neighbor who is sexist? Love the neighbor who is misogynistic, the rapist, etc. Love them? Very simply, yes. We are called to love them even though we do not condone the behavior. We do not condone the consciousness of that. We don't condone it, but we love them nonetheless. And the love, when true, increases the likelihood that they may be healed of the behavior. I don't like the hoarding, but I love the hoarder. And in loving the hoarder, I am then able to step in as a beneficial presence and help them heal through, to now declutter, to release and surrender what is weighing them down. Now, we've heard something similar to this throughout the years. Love the sinner, but hate the sin. I'm not talking about hating anything. I'm not talking about hating anything. I'm talking about be so focused on the healing presence of love that when whatever that is before us, we are able to be that beneficial presence. We are able to be the Good Samaritan without judgment, without condemnation. We see that this person is broken. We see that they are in need of healing. They are in need of love. And if we are called to, we step in as that person. In the same way that you're in a restaurant and you know CPR or you know the Heimlich maneuver and you see someone choking or you see someone go into cardiac arrest, do you leap into action? Now, leaping into action might be, I'm going to call 911. Do you do that? Or do you sit there and say, ain't got nothing to do with me. It's not my business. It's not my problem. That's not going to heal the world. Science of Mind 4.0 is about being actively involved as a religious scientist, as a metaphysician in the 21st century, which means treat and move your feet. How can we heal others? Dr. Holmes says, the unity of good is a revelation of the greatest importance. The unity of good is a revelation of the greatest importance. For it teaches us that we are one. We are one with the whole and one with each other. There is only one. So this is of great importance. It is the greatest importance that we understand that there is only one. And this one is all there is. So even the idea of being one with, there's only one. As, if I'm not mistaken, it was Meister Eckhart who said, between God and I, there is no between. Between God and I, there is no between. Breathe. So recognizing the unity of good, the unity that is God, the oneness that is God, there is only one. And what it is, you are. Breathe. Can you be friend? Can you be friend to the whole world? Can you be friend to yourself? Can you be friend to your neighbor? Can you be friend to your family? Can you? Are you willing to? Well, you say yes, but what exactly is friendship? What does that mean to be a friend? Friendship is a state of enduring affection. It is a sense of esteem. There is value. There is honoring. There is intimacy, and there is trust between whoever and whatever number of people we are referring to. Between 2 people, 4 people, 1,000 people. How do we develop greater affection, greater recognition and honoring, greater trust, greater intimacy? And not talking about sexual intimacy. Sexual eroticism, etc., is one form of intimacy. You can be intimate and never have sexual attraction or sexual feelings. Intimacy is about opening up. As someone once said, intimacy is into me you see, or into me I see. It is seeing into one another. It is removing the barriers and opening the doors of heart and mind and soul and sharing. If you're familiar with Star Trek, there's the Vulcan mind meld, where once you have connected my mind to your mind to my mind, that's very intimate because they meld into one where there is no separation. I think and I feel what you think and feel because we are one due to the melding of our minds. That's friendship. Being so willing to lay yourself bare, to be naked of mind, body, heart, and soul to such a degree that there is nothing to hide from your friend. Breathe. There's an issue of Lion's Roar magazine where the article is Making Friends on the Buddhist Path. Once, the Buddha's disciple Ananda asked him about friendship. Ananda knew that having good and encouraging friends was very important for the path. He even wondered whether having good friends is half the path. The Buddha told him, "No, Ananda, having good friends isn't half of the holy way, the holy life, the holy path. Having good friends is the whole of the holy path, the holy life, the holy way." Say, what now? So there's a story where a disciple by the name of Megea goes off to meditate. He's been trained and, as a monk, he goes off to meditate in isolation. And in isolation, he gets mad. He's frustrated and flustered and why, blah, blah, blah. Because in his mind, that is the best way to gain enlightenment in isolation. And so he comes back to the Buddha and he's like, "Yo, dude, what's the issue?" And the Buddha instructs him and says, "Oh, you're missing the point. There are five things induce the release of heart and lasting peace. First, a lovely intimacy with good friends. Second, virtuous conduct. Third, frequent conversation that inspires and encourages practice. Fourth, diligence, energy, and enthusiasm for that which is the good. And fifth, insight into impermanence." Then, for Megea's further benefit, the Buddha drives home and cements the point by saying, as he went through the list again, but right before he gets to each thing, he says, when there is a lovely intimacy between friends, then there is virtuous conduct. When there is loving intimacy between friends, there is diligence and energy and enthusiasm for good. When there is a lovely intimacy between friends, there is frequent conversation that inspires and encourages the practice. When there is a lovely intimacy between friends, in other words, friendship is the most important element in spiritual practice. Friendship is the mainstay of our spiritual practice. Everything else naturally flows from it. We do not heal, as S. Kelly Harrell says, we do not heal in isolation. We heal in community. We heal because of our connections, because of our friends, because of our ohana, biological family or not, family of choice, our friendships, and being able to be a friend even to those whom we may not like. Breathe. In other words, friendship is the most important element in the spiritual path. So, how are your friendships impacting your spiritual path? How are they nurturing and supporting your spiritual path? Or how are they detrimental to your spiritual path? Are there people you refer to as friends, but they're not truly friends? Remember the definition of friendship. Are they friends truly? And how do they show up as part of your spiritual practice? Dr. Holmes says, without love, nothing can be accomplished. With love, all things are possible. And as we love, our prayers are answered and the gift of heaven is made. As we love, our prayers are answered. So think about, without God, nothing can be accomplished. With God, all things are possible. And as we are Godding, Goding, as we are being the embodiment of God, our prayers are answered. And the gift of heaven, we believe that heaven is within, and we experience it to the degree that we are conscious of it. So when we are enveloped in love, when we are expressing love, when we are embodying love, then heaven is made known. There's a passage in 1 Corinthians that references love, and love being patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast, etc. It ends with, love never ends. If you're not familiar with this passage, I invite you to, read it and check it out. But the idea is, in general, love does this. Now, I want to pause for a second and do a Reverend Ray remix, because we understand that love is God. So when, because of love, we are patient and kind, we can accomplish far more life-affirming things. When we cooperate and collaborate from a place of healthy boundaries and healthy emotional intelligence, we co-create life-affirming structures more effectively. When we practice healing the consciousness that produces wrongdoings, and we practice principle and rejoice with the truth, we are doing the work of the beloved community, which supports all beings, believes in all beings, hopes and inspires all beings, endures the process with all beings, because love, life, God is eternal and infinite. Are we ready, willing, and able to love that way? In a book called The New Jim Crow, Michelle Alexander references Dr. King when she says, Martin Luther King Jr. called for us to be love-struck with each other, not colorblind toward each other. To be love-struck is to care, to have deep compassion, and to be concerned for each and every individual, including those who are poor, those who are vulnerable, and all others. The beloved community calls us to be love-struck. I don't remember when I first heard the concept of a love bomb, but when I read or hear that concept of love-struck, what comes to mind is a love bomb. This idea of when love is present, it explodes from our very being. Like have you ever been involved in or ever seen or heard of the a color race or holy, where these colorful explosions of dust fly through the air and land on people, and they become a beautiful rainbow of. In my mind, this is what love struck looks like. That when someone comes into your presence, the love that exudes from you automatically lands on them. And they may not even realize it at first. Just like these people, there could be colors on their back that they don't see, but they're still there. They don't see their own faces. They know the stuff is on them, but they don't see it until they see their reflection and they're like, oh, there's purple and there's blue and there's green and there's yellow and there's gold. They know it's there. It's in the very atmosphere. In my mind's eye, that's what love struck means, being love struck. A love bomb, that's what I envision. That we are so potent and powerful in the love that we exude that it lands on, that it literally colors the lives of others. The beloved community is a world that works for all. And the time to build it is now. The invitation to join the team is being offered. Are you ready to join the team that sees the blueprint, that gathers the tools and gathers the materials and builds a world that works for all? In other words, the beloved community. Are you ready and willing to do so? One of my quotes: when we are Godding out loud, we actively practice radical healing of all discord throughout all, and all means all, of our relationships, past and present, with those whom we are close to and those whom we are not close to. Radical healing is healing the discord throughout all of these relationships. No grudges, no animosity, no bitterness. What does it take to engage in radical healing of all discord for all relationships, past, present, close, or not? We do so because we understand the benefit to our own individual health and well-being, as well as that of the collective. As we heal and transform all. As we are loved, as we love ourselves, as we care for ourselves, it affects how we show up, which then affects the collective because we are sharing. We are being a beneficial presence. We are engaged in sacred activism. We're doing the work. And when we heal the discord anywhere, it affects the discord everywhere. Breathe. This week's affirmation or declaration, I will say it first, and if it resonates with you, say it with me on the second go round. I see every being as a divine expression of love, and that every includes you. I see myself as a divine expression of love, every being. Together, I see every being as a divine expression of love. And so it is. This week's discussion questions. Number one, what ways have you been challenged by people within your own community, your neighborhood community, your family, your friends? Number two, are you able to maintain close relationships with people who have different fundamental beliefs than you do? Are you able to have close relationships with people who are Christian or Buddhist, Muslim, atheist, etc.? And if you are, how do you do it? When we don't agree on everything. How do you practice it? How do you do it? Recently, the Parliament of World religions came together for the Parliament. People who believe very different things about God and spirit, and nonetheless, they all came together in community. How do you do that? How do we do that? Number 3, how could you be more supportive of your community, more supportive of your family, more supportive of your friends? And how love struck are you being in the world? What does an active practice of radical forgiveness look like? Radical healing, radical love, radical friendship. What do these things look like, and what actually does it mean to practice them? What does it look like to have an active practice of all of these? And then lastly, how do you lean into love when you are challenged by the actions of others, the behaviors of others? How do you still lean in with love even when? Breathe. As we close in the activity of prayer, recognizing and knowing the isness and allness of the wholeness of the divine. God is all there is, a unity of infinite goodness, eternal and ever present, love itself, life itself. And what it is, I must be. And because this is the truth for everyone watching now and those who aren't watching, those who don't even know this is a thing that they can watch. It's still the truth of them. So I breathe this from an awareness of, and a consciousness of, and a practice of being love struck, being a love bomb, being one whose very presence, just being in the presence of, liberates, heals, dissolves discord, that I am able to so walk the walk, to walk the talk, to be the activity of the divine, that the moment I enter a room, love radiates and vibrates, that the colors of land on everyone and everything in the room. That because I am aware of who and what I am, that I am able to recognize, even in the most unloving, unlikable individuals, I still see the divine in them. I still recognize the divine that they are. I love. I practice it. There are times that it's not easy. I practice it. There are times that it's weird. I practice it. There are times that I practice it. I need not perfect it. I practice it. And part of the practice is messy. Part of the practice is challenging. Part of the practice is the practice. So I practice loving my neighbor. I practice loving my friends. I practice loving and being friend of and to the whole world. I practice it. Breathe. The law says yes. It's already active. It's already activated. It's already in motion. It's already answered prayer. And so I live my life knowing that and being that and expressing that. The beloved community, A world that works for all, living it, practicing it, being it, speaking it, thinking it, feeling it, and doing it. The law says yes, it's done, it's answered prayer right here and right now. And so it is. Namaste, blessings, much love and appreciation, everyone. Have an amazing rest of your day. See you over in the Zoom room if you're joining us.